In 1965, my mother and I were in West Virginia spending time with our grandparents. I spent many summers throughout my childhood there. My grandmother and grandfather lived on the Cheat River before it was flooded, and they had a cabin there with a boat and a dock. It was a down in the boondocks kind of rural, and I loved that cabin. It was small, and it slept up to 8 people in bunk beds. One night we were all sitting on the back porch. It was pitch black outside. Not even the moon was shining at all that night. When the rest of us decided to turn in, Mom said she wanted to stay out a little longer and enjoy the quiet. A few minutes after we got to bed, my mom came running into my grandparents' room screaming, "There's a bear out there!" She said the bear came up to her and put its paws right on her shoulders. My grandfather grabbed a shotgun by the bed and went outside ready to defend, but there was nothing there. Now, I don't know what put its paws on my mother's shoulders, but I don't believe for a second it was a bear. If anything, it would have attacked or at least growled at her. It really never dawned on me then as a child, but now I have to wonder if it was not a Bigfoot. My friend Bill used to live in Eureka on the Northern California coast. He was studying to become a forest ranger at the local university, and he worked to pay his way there. His job was as a timber cruiser, which meant he walked miles and often dense and dark forests, and he marked huge redwood trees that were to be cut for lumber. In each location, a landing was made near a tree-falling area. And this is where the various types of equipment were stored, the huge tractors parked, and where fuel for diesel tractors were stored in 55-gallon drums. A landing was usually several acres in size, which had been cut out of the thick forest and raised up and then leveled off. Everyone except the timber cruiser took the weekends off. Bill would work most of the weekends and then much of the weekdays. According to his class schedule, one Monday, when he and the cutting crew showed up at their regular early hour, they were astonished at what they found. 3 of the 55-gallon metal cans of fuel had been picked up and carried to the edge of the landing and thrown down the hill. And whatever had thrown the metal drums had also managed to throw over the locked portable shed full of chainsaws and numerous other tools. Bill and the others in the crew were baffled, trying to comprehend the strength and number of people that it would take to pick up, carry, and throw these things off the edge of the landing. But the most unbelievable sight was what happened to the heavy equipment. There were 3 D9 Cat tractors on the landing, each weighing 54 tons. The D9 is a beast of a machine, yet somehow all 3 of these huge tractors had been lifted and laid onto their side. It was absolutely impossible, and they never did get an explanation. What do you think did all that damage? In June of 2018, I was visiting my son and his family in Lewis County, Washington. At the time, they were living in a house on a mountain. It was the last house on the road. There were several other homes, each of them separated by large distances. It was 2 days until I was going back home. And back then, I lived in Nevada. An hour before sunset, my son and I went behind his home to a waterfall a quarter of a mile behind the property. We were close to our destination when a branch snapped behind us. We stopped and looked, but there was nothing there. 100 feet away, though, something growled at us from the trees. We got to the waterfall, and while we admired the view, I was standing next to a tree with a double trunk. We could still hear the growls from the trees, so I looked between the trunks and I saw 2 black hair-covered legs and tan-colored feet walk past us about 20 feet away. They disappeared quickly, and I thought maybe I was seeing things. All the time, the forest was dead silent. When we started to head back, we heard growling coming from a pile of branches and stumps from some logging. When we arrived at my son's house, he got out his thermal viewer. Clear as day, We could see a large shape standing on 2 feet, watching us from the trees. I went home and I came back 2 weeks later to help him move as the owners had sold the house. And while we were moving his furniture out, I noticed a large figure 60 feet away. It was watching us from the tree line. I estimated it to be 8 feet tall, probably 4 feet wide at the shoulders. It had no neck appearance and had arms hanging down to its sides. I could not see the hands. It was standing in an arch between the trees, which was 12 feet wide and had 3-foot high bushes in front of it. This thing left us alone, but it stayed there for 20 minutes and it just watched us.